Welcome to Info Insight. I'm Miles Eversley. Thanks for joining us. Our history is filled with inspiring examples of humanitarianism where individuals have selflessly engaged in activities that promote the welfare of others and provide crucial assistance. This spirit of giving, sharing and caring is the central theme of this edition of Info Insight as we explore the pioneering efforts of the Grenadians in Barbados in supporting their fellow Grenadian, Alexis Simon. You may recall during the 13th installment of Resilience of the Spice Isle, the TV series chronicling the events of the Grenadian Revolution, Alexis shared his harrowing experience of October 19, 1983, the day Prime Minister Maurice Bishop and 7 cabinet members of the People's Revolutionary Government were assassinated. Alexis was caught in the turmoil on Fort Rupert and lost his arm in the process. In February of 2024, Alexis travelled to Barbados and shared his story with me. To fully understand why we have reached this point, it's important for Alexis to provide context and share his perspective. On the evening of February 7th, my colleague Sherwood McCaskey produced a news report highlighting Alexis's situation. This episode will combine that report with an extended interview to shed light on his journey to date.
Alexis Simon, then 17 years old, was among the thousands of Grenadians who freed Maurice Bishop from house arrest and marched to then Fort Rupert. The events that followed are recounted with sorrow and pain.
At the platform, there was a truck that came up there. It's a big yellow truck. I think it was belonging to the Public Works Department of the Ministry of Communication and Works. Maurice went into the building together with a few of his ministers and what have you. And I went up on the truck, sat down on the tray of the truck, waiting, looking at the building, just like I'm looking at you now. And this is the entrance to the back where the vehicles and then comes up. And didn't have a good 15 minutes. I heard a loud explosion. And then I fell down inside of the truck and I heard a loud explosion. Not knowing my hand was blown off. Not knowing my hand was blown off. And rapid firing of all different kinds of guns, shooting. And I tell myself, well, I fall down in the truck, inside of the truck already, so I'm safe. Not knowing my brother, my left hand gone already. There was a lot of blood on the truck. And I must say here, my hand was blown off. This is not where it came out. No, this is not where it came out. It came off just a little high up the wrist. So the bones running from the elbow come down here, all of that was shattered, mashed up, tear up. It was just pieces of flesh. So how did I know my left hand gone? After rapid firing, they started shouting, cease firing, and they started cussing up some language to cease firing and what have you. Then the firing came to an halt. Yes, the firing came to an halt. Some guns started firing before eventually everything came to a halt. Because they started really getting angry to cease firing. I guess probably they were watching too much bodies already on the ground, or too much person would have got injured already. I don't know. But when the firing stopped, and then they started shouting now, all who are alive, put up all their hands in the air. I guess they didn't get most people. So they started shouting, get all who are alive, put up all your hands. And I said, Papa, before these people and them start killing more, let me see if I could come in. And that's when I became aware my left hand gone. I couldn't panic. No, I couldn't panic. I remained there for a while still, and I said to myself, I have to get down from this truck. I need to go to the hospital because when I watched them of that blood, because I was not paying attention to my left side. And before that also too, I had lifted up my head and I peeped through a hole in one of these big holes that a bullet would have penetrated. I don't know how come maybe that bullet didn't take me. Maybe, boy, it wasn't my time yet. No, it wasn't my time. I peeped through the hole. I get up and I raise up my head and I peeped through the hole. And my brother, man, when I see these 3 armored carriers with so much soldiers on it, I put back down my head fast. But they started shouting again, all our life. I said, no, let me see if I can get up. I was able to stand up. And I jumped down. The minute I jumped down, I fell to the ground. I couldn't stand up again no more. And somebody, I don't know who it is, came and they rushed, came and picked me up, lift me up bodily, and rushed off with me. The next thing I know, I was placed in front of casualty on the bare wall. Casualty is the emergency unit at the general hospital at the time. And I'm nurse came out. And when she saw me, she rushed back in and said, doctor, look at gentleman lose his hand and he's bleeding. And they came out. They came and they lifted me up and put me on that. Rushed me back into the theater. The rest is history. Then the following morning I got up and I was in the hospital on a bed. I spent the whole of November in the hospital. So I may have been released the first week in December, either the first week or the second week in December. And I couldn't go to the help centers in my village called Budge Grove to dress the hand. I had to come back to the general hospital. And I had to be there every day. Most times they dress wounds like Monday, Wednesday, Friday for me, except the Sunday. I had to be in the hospital Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Was the last time I had to go down there and dress this hand. Rather painful. So that is my story. Unfortunately, it's short and sad. Very sad.
Today, February 7th, 2024, while his homeland is celebrating its 50th anniversary of independence, Mr. Simon deemed it necessary to visit the final resting place of Prime Minister Tom Adams and pay homage.
On behalf of all the survivors of the October 19th in Grenada, we owe a sense of gratitude and pride, and so to our country as an extent. And as Grenada celebrates today, the 7th of February 2024, 50 years anniversary, it is even more fitting for me, as one of the survivors, to be here at your tombstone. May you continue to rest in perfect peace, my dear brother.
This is merely the first stop on his pilgrimage to honor those Caribbean leaders whose decisive actions restored good governance in Grenada.
I also too would like to go and pay homage to the fallen prime ministers across the Caribbean that would have participated in the rescue mission, because at that time Grenada was very vulnerable. I am really moved and touched by your sense of reaching out to your fellow Grenadian. It's an honor. It's really an honor and a privilege here to be here.
Through this action, Alexis Simon seeks to garner support for his plea for compensation for the Grenadians injured on that fateful day, as well as for the families of those who lost their lives tragically. Sherwood McCaskey, CBC News.
After hearing Alexis' story, a group of Grenadians in Barbados organized a 5K run and walk to raise necessary funds for a prosthetic arm. Alexis recently returned to Barbados to participate in the event and reflected on the ongoing challenges he faces after losing his arm.
The loss of my left hand would have impacted me at a very early age, especially when I just left the hospital and had to come back out now into society, to meeting all my friends, to meeting individuals and, you know, interacting, it was very hard for me. Very, very hard for me. I remember my parents coming to me and telling me, you can't stay inside the house. You have to come out. I mean, yes, we know what it's like for you, but you have to face life now. You're not going to get it back. It's not going to go back. The stigma of living with one hand, even for the past 40 years, we are still stigmatized as persons living with disabilities. And at that age, tender age, my whole life, could say, was in shambles. My education, although I had just left school, but I wanted to go back. Thinking, how would I be accepted back into society and going back to school? No, so I didn't go back to school. Then, am I going to get a job? Am I going to get a wife? Who's going to look after me? The sort of jobs that I would have liked to have? My whole thing was shattered because of that. You know, so even after 40 years right now, I still, although I should give myself a little tap on the shoulder, because I've come a long way, but, you know, the things that I would have liked to do, or the person I would have liked to become, it's still not there.
You might be wondering if Alexis has received any assistance from the authorities in his homeland. Has he been provided with compensation, counseling, or rehabilitation? Are the authorities even aware of his situation?
On October 19th, the sister of Gemma Belmer, who died on the fort, Marcel Belmer, put out a story on my behalf, appealing to Grenadians to please come to my rescue in assisting me in getting this prosthetic hand. So I cannot say at this moment that the authorities is not aware as to compensation. I am holding part of a Nation newspaper. At the bottom, I am lying here on a hospital bed at the age of 17 when I just lost the hand. And in that document here, there is an injured list of persons who got injured on the 4th October 19, and under that list there is a 12-year-old who sustained injuries. And I'm quite sure that this 12-year-old, if he or she is alive today, have not even received not 1 cent from the authorities. As to rehabilitation, none of us have ever received a rehabilitation or counseling. I can say here, from my experience, I was traumatized. I was traumatized, so I could just understand what it was like for that 12-year-old. And the list goes on to 14 years and 15 years. Persons, children here, that I have here, who got injured. So the question of compensation or even counseling is still relevant today. And of course, I would want, hopefully, that the authorities and them look into that. I'm not here to bash Grenada, but I'm just speaking as one of the survivors and the hurt I would have gone through living even after 40 years with one hand as a result of the October 19 massacre.
Shireen Matlin-Tulloch is a member of the group known as the Grenadians in Barbados. These kind individuals are responsible for the fundraising initiative for Alexis. She provides us with details of the event.
First of all, let me say thank you so much, Miles, to yourself and to Sherwood, McCaskey, and to CBC for allowing us to be here today. Both of you and your team have done so much to bring exposure to what would have happened in Grenada in October 1983. And what we're doing here today is we're trying to help someone who is actually hurt in the events on the fort in October 1983. Alexis is Grenadian and lives in Grenada. He has had a prosthetic arm before, but here we are 41 years later, and his arm was of no use to him many years ago. He's been trying to get a new one, but He has been denied entry into the US, so he's not been able to do that. And we've spent the last couple of months trying to find somewhere where he could get one. Interestingly enough, Grenada is celebrating our 50th in Year of Independence this year. And in February, we got together as a group of Grenadians to celebrate here. And coincidentally, Alexis was on island trying to get his visa. And we found out that he was here. And we invited him to the celebration that we were having. And that is where he spoke to us, and we found out what was taking place. And since then, he's become a part of the Grenadians in Barbados family. So we did find out that an arm was available from Jamaica, and the cost is 10,000 US dollars. And of course, that is no easy amount of money for anybody to raise. So we decided that we would get together and we would do something for him, and we would have this walk on September 8th to try to raise funds. Now, the registration fee is only $20. So on Saturday, the 7th of September, the day before the actual event, at Sky Mall, we will be registering participants from 4 o'clock p.m. to 8 o'clock p.m. But we are inviting everyone to contribute as much as they can. And so far, the response has been interesting. The walk has not even happened as yet, but I think people are intrigued by his story. Even younger people who know nothing about the affairs of Grenada back in those days. But when they have read up a little bit about him, they've just come forward and they want to help. So I do believe that we're going to meet our target. I have no fear about that. But we do want all Barbadians to come out on September 8th. It's not a difficult route. It's a 5K route at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday in the Garrison area. We will start at the clock tower, and we will walk towards Hastings and do 3 laps on the outskirts of the Garrison. And that will be our 5K. There will be a competition. Of course, it's going to be a walk and run because we have people who are serious walkers and runners and do this for the medals. So we will have trophies, and we will have all the usual drinks and snacks and everything. And we're really looking forward to this. We're using the period time now to reach out to businesses, to our colleagues, wherever they may be, to ask them if they would help in any way. And we're saying it doesn't have to be $20. $20 was just the minimum to get into the walk. We want you to give as much as you can because $20,000 is a bit, but we know we can do it.
What options are available for those who cannot participate in the 5K run and walk? How could they contribute to the cause?
I know it's been a little difficult because the Grenada Association is not a formal association at this point. It's not a registered charity. So at this point in time, they're able to drop off cash donations and receive a receipt. There are 2 numbers at the bottom here. The bottom one especially is actually mine, and we're giving receipts. And they can call that number 230-4372, 230-4372, and we can direct you. We have just been speaking to another registered charity on island who is going to allow us to work through them so that persons who want to transfer money are actually able to do that. And we will be sharing that information all over Facebook. We're going to try our best to get it out far and wide. If persons can just call the number, we will let them know what is the best way to be able to send it.
Fellow Grenadian Dr. Mary Radix described Alexis's condition and the benefits of having the artificial arm.
Alexis had his arm amputated mid-arm, so he actually has a stump. And so he no longer has the use of that limb. Just if someone would think what it would be like to lose one of your limbs. You do everything with your hands, and to lose 50% basically of what you do with your arms. And remembering that he lost his limb at the age of 17, he was actually still in school. So this is something that he's been living with for more than 40 years in his adult life. So the limb it's an artificial limb, and basically what it will allow him to do is once it's strapped on, it will allow him to be able to do many, if not all of the things that he used to do with his arm.
Getting this arm would be of great help to me, and in so saying that the one that I had before was also of great help to me, whereas I could hold things, it assisted me in carrying things, and so getting back one is also going to be the same, because the one that I have looked at is similar to the one that I had. So I know that will be of tremendous help in helping me in carrying things, holding things. For instance, if I have to sweep, I can use it to hold on to the broom, and then I can use my right hand to sweep. You can hold a cup. You may not be able to bring it to my mouth, but you can hold on to it. So this prosthetic hand is really for holding things. It's not a functional prosthetic hand where it can do almost everything like the natural hand, but of course it will help me tremendously. And not just helping me, but it will sort of balance me now, walking and also in going to church.
A prosthetic arm has the potential to significantly improve Alexis's life, and with your support, this can become a reality. Shireen shares her thoughts on the importance of philanthropy, the practice of giving, sharing, and making a positive difference in the lives of others.
I think a lot of people don't think about charity until it starts to affect somebody that they know. But there's a huge need for help from a lot of people who just have access to no funds. And it doesn't matter whether you give $5 or $500. If you're able to find a cause that is close to your heart, and it may be the big ones that you know about, like the Cancer Society and the Diabetic Society, but there may be smaller ones, or there might be the QAH, the pediatric unit, or wherever it is that you feel inspired to help. It really is a gift to give and to help. And people think that they're too busy all the time, but if you're able to get a few people together and you're able to help one person in any way at all, it is extremely rewarding, and really, really, it brings peace, it brings satisfaction, it brings joy to know that you have made a difference in somebody's life.
One of the stories in the Bible that resonates with me is the story of Elijah and the widow who only had a little bit of flour and a little bit of oil. And Elijah asked her for something to eat. And she was kind of like, well, I only have this for me and my son, you know, so how can I give you something? But she prevailed. She shared what she had with him. And it said basically she was never without want. It's really interesting that two of the largest religions in the world are Islam and Christianity. Both embody and part of their tenets are about giving to those who are in need. And as a Christian, and I can say this certainly from my life, that you don't have to have a ton of money, but I have found that even if you have a little bit, you can still give to somebody, because you can be assured that your little bit might be a little bit, but you have much more than somebody who has nothing at all. And in my experience, certainly, as I said, God loves the cheerful giver, and in every case, when you give, and that has been my experience, that you give, and you give even sometimes when it hurts, when you think, I can't give, that God just opens up the floodgates and you are rewarded, because this is God's kingdom and you are helping to look after his children. And, you know, you will get the blessings back. Your own children will get the blessings, your grandchildren. I believe in generational blessings. So.
We're one CARICOM, we're one people. It doesn't matter whether you're from Barbados or Guyana or Grenada or wherever. We all go through the same things in life. We may all go through the same things later. None of us know what is around the corner for us, but what we do know is that we have to be our brother's keeper. We have to look after each other. And we know that good comes around in the most unexpected ways. So we are appealing to persons, whether you know the story or you don't know the story, to just come out to help another person. It is that giving and that helping makes you feel good. And we are asking everyone to please do that.
My hope for the walk, I would really, really, really love, and I'm really appealing to Barbadians, please, to come out and support the walk for me to get this much needed prosthetic hand. And of course, I would really, really, really love for everybody to participate in that, because I know at the end of the day, I would benefit from that prosthetic hand, which I really, really, really need.
Alexis's story has been one of resilience. After losing a part of himself at the young age of 17, he has persevered through life's challenges and today stands a proud son of the Spice Isle. After registering at Sky Mall on Saturday, September 7th between the hours of 4 p.m. and 8 p.m, we invite you to join us at the Garrison Savannah on Sunday, September 8th at 4 p.m. as we participate in the 5K run and walk to raise funds to purchase a new prosthetic arm for our fellow West Indian, Alexis Simon. This has been Info Insight. I'm Miles Eversley. Every blessing.